If a lie paid your bills and praised your choices and called itself family, would you still keep it when the bill came due? Stay with me, because this story shows what keeps a wall standing and what it costs to open a door. It is late at night and the kitchen is a mess of papers and cold tea and blinking notifications. A woman named Mara stares at a laptop while a progress bar crawls like a slow second hand. The file she is uploading is small, but the weight on her chest is not. Outside on the street an engine idles, and inside her phone vibrates with unknown numbers and cruel words. She used to direct storms for a living, and now the storm knows her name. Let me walk you back a step, because the path here is paved with careful smiles and polished myths. Mara runs public relations for a century-old brand that everyone's aunt trusts without reading the label. People call it Bellwether, and they speak that name like a prayer they learned at the supermarket. The company sells an origin story where a genius came from nothing, drew a miracle, and lifted a town. Beside the company stands a foundation that gives scholarships and hospital wings and glossy galas with good lighting. Mara makes this legend look new every year, and she is good, and she is fast, and very few people ask for footnotes. She once buried a factory injury under an award show with music and candles and a slogan about healing hands. She named the award, and she smiled on stage, and her inbox filled with thanks from people who like tidy endings. The tidy ending did not age well, and neither did one old warehouse near the river. A flood burst a pipe and soaked boxes that no one had opened since phones had cords. Mara went there to oversee the cleanup and found ledgers that smelled like metal and a note that said lock it if it ever sees light. The handwriting was neat and the meaning was not. She flipped pages and saw a name that the museum never mentions and the website never tags. The name is Elena Rosario, and next to it is the word prototype. A second page lists an accident and calls it misadventure and marks one payment that looks like a scholarship but tastes like a gag. Mara felt the small click that happens when a puzzle loses its pretty picture and shows you its teeth. She carried the papers to legal and got a warm smile that said context fixes everything. The lawyer told her old records are tricky and memories are soft, and maybe the neatest thing is to put the box back. On her way out, a young paralegal slit a packing label with a box cutter and slid Mara a short note.
Check the foundation payouts and watch the dates.
Mara checked, and the pattern blinked like a cursor you cannot ignore. Money flowed to people who lived near people who had once asked hard questions. Grants landed where rumors used to live. Kindness had a schedule and a strategic map. The flood erased the dust and revealed the design. She stared at the numbers until the columns felt like a confession written in careful, tidy rows. Hate arrives early in stories like this, and it wears a friendly face at first. The boardroom was quiet and very soft, and 2 vases of flowers watched her as she spoke. She offered a calm fix because she still believed in calm fixes. Correct the record, build a memorial, rename a scholarship, place a plaque in the museum where the mural lies. She hoped the family would want a cleaner truth more than a spotless lie.
We raised you when no one knew your name.
That line landed like a leash slipped back on the neck.
You can love the truth in private, darling, just do not put it on stage.
The offer was money and equity and a sealed archive with a new lock and no key. The message was simple and sharp, and it said loyalty is love with benefits and silence comes with health insurance. Hate was still polite on that day because it believed it would win. Mara went home and opened a folder and scanned pages until the blue of the scanner bar lived under her eyelids. She recorded file names with steady hands and shaky breathing, and then she did something she had not done before. She told the truth, and she put her name next to it. The upload crawled, and the texts arrived, and people found a direction for their fear.
She hates success and wants attention.
Strangers said that, and cousins echoed it, and a matriarch sighed as if the world had wronged her dinner plans. Hate works fast when a fairy tale has a fan club. It calls honesty a tantrum and calls doubt a crime. In the middle of this storm, an old man at the edge of town opened a drawer and pulled out a memory. His hands shook, but not from fear so much as recognition.
I signed something, and I told myself it kept the factory lights on.
His name is Cobb, and he used to fix machines that made other people rich.
Elena built the first working model while the boss gave speeches about the wilderness year.
He said she brought a dented lunch pail every day and ate fast because she wanted her hands back on the metal.
I watched her draw and file and rewire, and we all used the new thing like it had always been there.
He wiped his eyes and apologized to the air, and Mara felt the taste of her old award show in her mouth. Shame is a slow spice that lingers after the meal. Mara had once sent a press kit that called a bandage a breakthrough. She had aimed cameras away from pain and toward a ribbon, and she had slept fine. That sleep was over. She tried the private path one more time, because hope is stubborn and likes clean hallways. She made a plan for a memorial and a scholarship without gag clauses and a plaque with a name that had been erased. The family countered with a program named after Elena that spelled out a cute acronym and did not change a single sentence on the museum wall.
We can call it responsible innovation, and everyone will clap and no one will dig.
The clap would be loud and the silence would be louder. Mara declined the offer and recorded a video that did not shout and did not point at anyone's face. She spoke softly and said she had been part of the quiet machine, and now she was stepping off the belt.
I played the game for years, and I am done cleaning the same stain with new words.
She held up a photo of a lunch pail with ER scratched inside and a page with a line where a name should have been printed in gold. The video moved like water poured onto hot stone. People mirrored it and added subtitles and argued in kitchens and whispered in break rooms. The foundation called the records fake and misread and out of context, and their press release had the tone of a teacher scolding a child for asking where the stars go. A retired machinist pulled out an old photograph that showed Elena with that same pail and a smudge that matched a dent. The internet does not verify everything, but it can smell a true detail the way rain has a smell on dry sidewalks. The board filed a lawsuit and the filing opened drawers that had stayed shut for decades. Discovery is not dramatic, but it is patient, and spreadsheets are not good at acting. Rows matched dates and grants matched silences, and the map traced a careful design of kindness with a cost. The defense called it historical standards and the kind of roughness that shaped the past, and the judge asked about the gag lines in modern contracts. At the hearing, Cobb spoke again, and this time his voice did not crack.
I did not want my grandson to learn the trick where you step on a story and call it duty.
In the gallery, someone wiped their face and no one clapped because the room felt like a hello from grief. The case did not set a legal record, but it set a human one on a small brick wall outside the company museum. The plaque reads Elena Rosario, prototype engineer, and it sits where a mural used to pretend that a single man solved a puzzle alone. The foundation launched a scholarship without gag clause, and the press release used modest words that did not try to glow. Not everyone forgave Mara, and that is fine, because forgiveness was not a part of her job anymore. Hate needs a house, and when you move out it rents to someone else much faster than you think. Meanwhile, at a quiet table, Mara helped her mother read a renewal notice and learned that silence had once subsidized their healthcare plan. The new plan cost more and the numbers scratched, and then a neighbor left a pie and an envelope with small bills. People do small good things when the stage lights turn off. I want to give you a few quick beats because this is how attention rides a wave and comes back for more. A fan site posted a thread that called Mara St. Judas and the merch sold fast and she hated it. The foundation launched a mascot cat with a name that spelled virtue and the internet laughed at the timing. The company tried to update the museum tour without saying sorry, and the guide skipped one hallway for a week, and no one could unsee the gap. A cousin at a family cookout asked why Mara loved drama more than peace, and she chewed and said she loved air more than perfume. The line sounded neat, and then she went home and cried because neat lines cost water. Let us swing back to the night of the upload because that is where a person changes from a role into a voice. The bar hit 100 and the engine outside finally drove off, and the phone calmed down enough to lay flat. Mara opened her group chat for PR teams and renamed it from damage control to denial, and then she archived it. That small click felt like a shovel hitting a stone that marks a grave. When people greeted her later, some used a tone that said brave and some used a tone that said fool, and both tones were about the greeter more than about her. She kept her voice steady and her sentences short, because long speeches can hide little truths. She answered interviews by saying the simplest thing first.
A person built something and died uncredited. A story erased her, and money kept the erasing neat.
Then she added her part and did not beg for grace.
I helped keep it neat, because I liked being paid and praised.
That is the sentence that opens locked ears, because people do not trust saints, but they will listen to someone who stands in their own shadow. Now listen to the lesson this channel never puts in a gown. When a truth is called untouchable, someone is selling you etiquette for a life that is not yours. If your loyalty depends on your silence, you are not loved, you are hired. When you stop performing, the contract ends, and when you start speaking, the story begins. The crowd will split and yell, and some will spit, and some will bring pie. Pride will not pay your premiums, but you will sleep even when the phone lights up. You will see the mural without the mask, and you will know where to place a small plaque in your own memory. Now let me rewind and show you the microcycles that keep a listener from walking away, because this is how you hold a mind without a cage. You pose a question, then you answer a slice and leave a corner hungry. You show a text that stings, then you give a witness who breathes air back in. You reveal a ledger that chills, then you offer a fix that feels possible for 3 seconds. You yank the fix away with a price tag, then you drop a proof that does not shout. People ride that up and down and stay, because their own days feel like that, and now they have company. The company on the screen is a mirror they can touch without bleeding. They lean forward when you say a name like Alina, because names put skin on math. They lean back when you describe kind money that hushes, because they have seen it at smaller tables. You are not making them better, you are just letting them name a taste they already know. That is the little gold we mix in the mess, and it stays even after they close the app. I will give you a few more close frames before we close, because images keep stories fresh. A lunch pail with 3 scratched letters sits under glass, and a school kid presses her hand to the case and reads the plaque aloud. A retired worker folds a newspaper clipping into a wallet and decides to stop telling his grandson that hard men never cry. A middle manager at a different company deletes a gag line from a contract and calls it a formatting error and chooses not to fix it. A cousin writes one more mean comment and then deletes it and writes nothing, and that silence is a small start. A matriarch pours tea, and the cup rattles once, and she does not understand why the sound bothers her so much. The sound is history scratching at the door. History does not kick it in, it waits and it hums and it comes back with friends. You do not have to be Mara to open a door, you only have to stop calling a lock a family heirloom. That is the parable if you like simple endings with a thin cut of truth. Now hear where the hook lands, because we finish what we started. If a lie pays your bills and praises your choices and calls itself family, you will not know who you are until you risk the paycheck and the praise and the nameplate. The risk will hurt, and the hurt will heal, and you will wake up without a leash where your collar used to be. That is not a slogan, it is a weather report for one life. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. If this story moved you, tap like, hit subscribe, and drop a comment, because your voice changes who finds this next. If you want to support this channel, use the QR code on the screen or the link in the description to send a donation. There are links in the description to other works from a very different series, and I think you will enjoy those surprises. Take care, stay curious, and come back for the next one, because the next door is already waiting.